everyone, and welcome back to People Do Wanna Know podcast. I have a very unique Shabbat Schmooze episode for you today featuring a content creator, Shimon Raskin. Shimon is an Israeli-born, Russian-speaking Jewish creator known for his funny and relatable takes on culture, language, and everyday life, earning him over 100,000 TikTok followers. Beyond social media, Shimon is also a tech entrepreneur building apps in the college sponsorship and fraternity scene that bridge brands, students, and events nationwide. If you're a Russian speaker, you will eat this episode up. And honestly, you probably have already come across Shimon or Soma's content. He's quite well known in the Russian-English mixed content TikTok. Soma is the youngest guest I've had on my show so far. He has a really strong understanding of Gen Z and pop culture, and his story is very, very interesting. To be completely honest with you, when I invited him on the show, I had no idea what I was signing up for. I knew he had very funny content online, but I wasn't sure what I'd hear from him when we spoke more seriously. This guy delivered. There is so much more than meets the eye to him, and I can't wait for you to learn all about it. I think what really stands out to me is how confidently he has pursued the road less traveled, which is super respectable. For example, meeting a Russian-speaking Jewish kid who is a college dropout is unheard of in our community. And Soma being able to dial in on what he wants to do, even if that means not pursuing a traditional path, is really cool. I appreciate the conversation tremendously, and it makes me want to speak to more Gen Z guests. And if you're a Russian-speaking Jewish parent listening to this, I think it will be particularly interesting for you. Take notes, and please enjoy this episode. Hello, Soma. Welcome to People Do Wanna Know podcast. Thank you so much for being with me here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. I love my Russian-speaking Jews, and it's an honor to chat with you. I'm a huge fan of your little, I call them isms, which are like little phrases you make up in Russian and English. We definitely have that in my family as well, like our bits and our inside jokes. And so, I never skip a video of yours when it comes on my feed.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just how I talk a lot of the time at home, and then I guess people like when I say stupid shit.
Okay, well, on that note, for those who are not familiar with your page or your work, tell us about yourself. What do you do, and how did you get there?
So for those who don't know me, I'm Sioma. I am a content creator, I guess. People started calling me an influencer. I don't know if I influence a lot of good things, but that's a phrase that was thrown with my name. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a couple of companies. I have an app for Greek life that helps them mitigate a lot of work when it comes to philanthropy, service hours, really just helps them get their stuff done faster. And I have a marketing agency where we specialize in growing social media, any platform. We have a lot of in-house pages that we collaborate with to really launch people's brands in the college space. So it's all connected over there. A little bit about myself. I was born in Jerusalem in '04, and my first language was Russian. Believe it or not, some people don't believe me still because I speak like shit, but I'm getting better. My parents are from Bobruisk in Belarus, and then my biological father still lives in Israel. I moved here to Chicago when I was 5. And my father figure growing up, he's from Minsk. So he's the one that raised me, and his name is Michael. My mom's name is Lilia. And I guess where I got here, when it comes to the content side, I never really posted anything. I didn't take it as seriously as I do now. I posted one stupid video. Like I used to spam a little bit about my life, nothing crazy. And then I posted a video about an attractive girl with some, let's just say, guy that looks a
Shrek.
little Shrek, okay. Чуть-чуть Shrek похож. And I made a video of me reacting to it, speaking in both Russian and English. And then I woke up and that video blew up and I started getting followers. I was like, you know what? Like, why not? Consistent with everything else I do. So ever since that day, I started posting twice a day. And I think that was like 4 months ago. And I think we're close to 165,000 on TikTok now, which is crazy. And then as for my business stuff, I used to love doing like online businesses. My first company, I taught people how to resell shoes, and I charged them when I was like 16 or 16 years old. So, since I was a teenager, I really liked online stuff. And then when I joined a fraternity, I saw the issues that were prevalent there, and a lot of older companies just take advantage of these young kids that grab their parents' monies and pool it. So I was like, all right, let's change that. So that's pretty much a little bit about myself.
Before we talk about your TikTok page, which is iconic to say the least, I want to talk to you about Greeky.
Yes.
So I went to college almost 10 years before you, and Greek life, I feel like, has changed a lot since then. What is it like today, and what are the types of problems you're hoping to solve with your product?
So I never wanted to go to college, and ended up going to college. My parents just said, whatever.
Classic, yes.
Back
Yeah,
when,
I will say this in Russian. My mom, she used to tell me, "Без бумажки ты какашка, а с бумажкой человек," which is why you
right?
had to go to college.
Yeah. I always thought that the stereotypes and the stigma around fraternities were true, and I didn't want to join one. And then I ended up going to an event, and I spoke to the president during that time. And I was like, okay, this is like a normal group of guys. Let me just join it. And then ever since then, I ended up, I dropped out one time, came back, became president for a couple months, and then dropped out again.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I can't do college, so I dropped out and I tried to pursue something else, and then that's when I decided to do Greeky is when I enrolled again, and then I dropped out this summer pretty much again because I already did everything that I needed to do in Greeky, and now we're just scaling it. But Greek life, I think the stereotypes come from some truth and some not truth. I think, if you go and you can't really believe everything you hear about a group of people or about somebody before you meet them. At least that's how I think. So when I joined the fraternity, everybody was pretty cool. They were a normal group of guys, no like jocks, no posh bullshit. Everybody was cool. There are though obviously reputable fraternities that have a very well known name and people join it and it's like those like white posh, polo crap. That's true. That is very much true. But I think the most valuable thing joining Greek life is not only the connections that you get, because most of the time you get your jobs from the family that you're friends with or whatever, but it's like a sense of community. A lot of people go to college and it's a time for them to explore what it means to be an adult and getting a clique of people. I think that really helps people really go through college because you don't want to be alone. Like it sucks. That's another reason people join Greek life. But a thing that I do want to emphasize is that it's not just partying. Like, yes, you pool your money together, but there's a lot of things that you have to do when it comes to being in a fraternity. Like I said, study hours. Like, you get pushed to have a minimum GPA, you get pushed to do philanthropy, you get pushed to interact with girls, to throw social events. So the point is to like grow up, really. That's what I think people should really know about Greek life.
As someone who is like super anti Greek life, the way that you framed it, actually, I was like, wait, that's true. They do encourage you to have a minimum GPA and do philanthropy, which otherwise probably college students would not seek out.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that I had a horrible GPA my first semester. And then I joined the fraternity and then it went up. But I was never a really good student, so I guess it doesn't really matter anymore. But yeah.
What chapter did you join?
Alpha Sigma Phi at the University of Kansas.
Oh, that's a big frat culture school.
It used to be more of a Greek life school a few decades ago. Now it's more like a frat school, but yeah, I mean a lot of the traditions at that school have kind of like diminished, so that's why, but yeah, it has a decent presence on the campus.
How come you didn't join a Jewish frat?
So believe it or not, my next door neighbor when we had a house was A Pi, which is a very known Jewish fraternity. I literally went to one event and I was like, okay, this is the group of guys that I want to hang around with. So it's not that I didn't want to join, it's that I didn't have the chance to explore that option. But a lot of people that I work with, a lot of companies that I market for are AEPI alumni. And I get that question all the time. They're like, oh, you're a Jew and you were in Greek life. So AEPI, I'm like, no, close, but no.
I'm curious about now, this relates to your TikTok kind of. Your audience is not just Jewish people, it's Russian speaking and English speaking people, but you're very open about being Jewish online. Like it's no secret. How do you think that's been received by your audience?
Very well, actually. So I'm a person that I don't think that you can live this life without having people talk bad about you, regardless of what you do. So when I started posting, nobody knew that I was Jewish or whatever it may be. And then, like, my Star of David was seen in some videos and some things that I post on my story. And regardless, I don't really care what people say because life is too short to care about. Usually, the people that talk shit are the ones that would never go out of their way to do stuff that you're doing, right? I literally can name like 2 or 3 hate things that I've gotten, but honestly, it hasn't really been that bad. I think there was one comment on one of my videos where it was low key a thirst trap, low key, but I was like lip syncing to something, and then somebody's like, oh, like he's hot or something, but the only minus is that he's Jewish. And then somebody like responded and they were like, why is it a minus? And then that person never like answered. And then like on my lives, like I'll have people that are like, oh, are you pro Israel, pro Palestine? They're like free Palestine. I'm like, what to do is best to ignore them because they try to get a reaction out of you, but received pretty well. I do have a large Jewish following as well. But I think when you stay true to who you are and your identity, that people give up trying to talk shit because they can't phase you. So, that's how I roll.
No, that's good advice. What do you think has been the most surprising thing you've learned about people?
Mm. On TikTok,
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I don't really scroll that often. I'm a very busy person. Not to sound like ego mac
I'm a
whatever.
very busy, humble person.
So I don't really scroll often, but I do get a lot of videos where I just see, I wish that people would believe in themselves a little bit more. I see a lot of people flexing their supercars, they're doing really well online or something like that. And everybody in the comments is like, oh, you're lucky. I wish I could do this, blah, blah, blah. And sure, you can talk about like everybody's backgrounds, but I feel like it's in this day and age, if you want to change something in your life, you need to just go out and do it because I mean, like ChatGPT, come on, like what else do you really need? You just have to start. For a lot of people that are thinking about trying to do some sort of company, start posting, I really encourage because I encourage it a lot actually because you have nothing to lose but everything to gain. So, whatever it is, you're going to try it. You're going to get shit on a bunch of times and then you're going to try again and get shit on again. But eventually, if you keep showing up, something will work. Maybe you get lucky one day, and then you get invited on a podcast. I don't know. So,
Yeah. I want to walk the audience through the side of TikTok that you live on because the reality is, I don't think that's the algorithm that a lot of my listeners have. So prior to TikTok, I don't think there was a market for this like mixed language Russian English content. If there was, I wasn't aware of it. And I was pretty tapped into like Russian speaking Americans and just Russian speakers. At the time, it was really fragmented by market. And so if I wanted to watch somebody speak in Russian, I would watch shows that were like travel shows of Russian content creators that went to America, stuff like that. I really think TikTok is responsible for creating this market where a content creator can speak both languages and they have a large enough audience that they can monetize their page even though they're speaking two different languages in their content all the time. And the first content creator like that I came across, it was like really jarring for me because I couldn't tell if she like knew Russian just bad, like for lack of a better word. Like I'm listening to her and I'm like, why is she speaking like that? Like, does she not know either language well? And then I realized it was kind of like a bit. And that was the point that that's a form of entertainment, being able to traverse two different languages and find the funniest, most clever words from each that you can string together into something that's almost like an art. And so that content creator was Jacqueline, which I'm curious to know, did you ever end up meeting her? I know that they tried to like set you guys up against each other. Then they wanted you guys to be set up like dating wise. There was a lot of drama because she was like the first big Russian speaking Jewish Russian mixed English creator, and then you came out of nowhere and you just had like banger after banger after banger, like viral, viral, viral. So did you meet her?
We were texting earlier today. Yeah, we've spoken a few times. I purchased a gift that she launched her jewelry collection.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah, I purchased a gift for my mother. And we speak pretty often. She invited me to her brand release party, but I'm not close where she lives.
Yeah, because she's Texas or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. But hopefully soon. We were talking earlier today about doing some stuff, so maybe that comes to fruition. But I have a lot of friends in Texas, so I would imagine that sometime soon I would pop out over there and we can make some videos together.
You guys got to come to New York, which is like the mecca of Russian speaking Jews.
I heard Brighton Beach is very infamous for that.
Lit.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, I had a Shabbat where it was like former Soviet Union themed and everyone had to dress up as a character. That video that I made recapping the event, it went viral. And since then, people have been like messaging me and, the other group of people that I collaborated with, like, please do this event again. And so we're actually thinking of doing it for Purim
Okay.
and like really making it big. People have to dress up in order to attend. It will be like a full Russian Ukrainian meal. It's going to be awesome. So it just gives me hope that there's a market for these things. In New York, there are Russian speaking Jewish events for young people, but they're they're a little odd. I don't know why. Like people are not drawn to them. The Russian speaking Jewish like groups that are there are usually private. It's people, with their own personal group of friends. From a planned, well executed, organized event standpoint, I don't think there's like an organization out there that feels cool and trendy and that has been able to succeed. Because even in a market like New York, there's just not enough people.
Uh, I think something that might have to do with that is you can't force anybody to do something they don't want. I think culture is very important to people, and I think they want to embrace it at different times in their life. So, like, I mean, I wasn't religious until literally like a year and a half ago at all. But then I, started to learn more about Judaism and my identity. And I started, rapping tefillin every day and all that stuff. And life has been great since every day. It's like a life hack. You rap tefillin every day, everything's good. If it's more of a not pushed on agenda, like what you had, I saw the Alla Pugacheva, Philippe
Yeah.
Kirkorov, like, oh, that's funny, that's awesome. But I think I do know what you're talking about because there's like certain things like Locks Club where they like invite people to do like speed dating or something like. It's weird. It's kind of tacky. It's like you're pushing people towards each other, and that's not how culture. It's not how people work.
Yeah, it has to be more organic. You're right.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. I mean, it could work if, if it's natural and people wanna be themselves, but if people have to go to somewhere and they're uncomfortable and they can't be who they really are, then of course your retention rate is not gonna be very high for that. But if you did have something like that event, I would probably pull up, as long
Pull
as
up.
yeah, I'd probably
What would be your costume?
Volk from Nu Pagaji, probably.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a good one, right?
Yeah,
Or Carlson.
that's also a good one. But you'd need a wig.
Yeah, I would need a wig. We'll see. We'll
Are you
see.
prepared to wear a wig for 4 hours? I didn't realize, what a commitment it was until I did that costume. And my wig was really long and heavy.
Yeah, I could do it if it's for the event. I'll you
You
know,
commit. I wonder, do you ever feel like too Russian for the Americans and too American for the Russians?
yes and no. So predominantly when I started out, I thought everything was like, because everybody grew up the same, right? With mom yelling at you for bullshit that it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, you got sick. Yeah, it's because you're on your phone too much, all that stuff. So, like, I relate with the people that grew up in America with Slavic parents. I would say that I'm more American than Russian to my Russian followers because I was speaking to a TikToker and he was showing me how life actually is like in Russia. It's a whole different culture. It's a whole different everything's over there. So a lot of stuff he was talking about, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. That's like they're big on like food is like kartoshka free. That's how they say it. Like we say French fries or whatever, and they love that stuff. And they're like burger and stuff. I'm like, okay, like and then the way that they live, like the apartments, that's like the staple. That's like the standard over there. Like the apartments, like how everything is, apartment buildings, it's all the same. But here it's obviously more emphasis on homes. So that's something that was interesting. He did tell me a lot about like the LGBTQ stuff, how it's literally banned. If you even go online and you say something, you could go to prison. So that was interesting to learn about. But yeah, I definitely think I am too American for some Russians, but I'm working on it.
It's interesting because I think English as a language has like 10 times or even 100 times more words than Russian. And so for a lot of the words that Russians use, they actually just take English words. And for example, burger. Why? Because there's not a word for burger in Russian. They just took the English word. And they did the same with like French and German words. Like, I actually have a funny story about the word Schlagbaum. Do you know this word, Schlagbaum? So,
No.
when you go into a parking ramp and you have to press a ticket and the barrier has to open for you to enter the parking ramp, that's called a Schlagbaum.
Okay.
That specific barrier that has to open and close to let you in. I don't know what it's called in English, for example, but I know that in Russian, which it takes the German word Schlagbaum, and that's the specific word for that barrier. And the funny thing about having Slavic parents, I think you can relate to this, is sometimes when they don't know the word in English, they will just say it in Russian and hope they will be understood. So one year we went for my brother's bar mitzvah in Israel and we got an Airbnb and we pulled up in our car and we had to park outside of the building, but the building has a parking ramp. And because we don't have the fob to enter the parking ramp, we couldn't get in with our car. So my dad calls the Airbnb host, who only speaks Hebrew and broken English, and he's trying to explain to her that we need to enter the parking ramp. And just in full seriousness, he goes, "Excuse me, can you raise the Schlagbaum?"
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like deadpan.
Did she understand or did he understand?
No, she did not understand what Schlagbaum means, believe it or not.
I don't think I would either. So
Yeah,
that's
in any language. It's the Russian culture does take after a lot of like international words, and even the word like manager in Russian is just manager. And I couldn't tell you what the exact equivalent in the Russian language is. It just doesn't exist. They had to take after English.
I did notice that. And that's why in a lot of my videos, it's more of me trying to figure out what the Russian word is than the English one. So I'll just throw some shit in there. And hopefully people understand what I'm saying. Because my Russian is not that good because I switched it was my first language, but went off to college and now I'm starting to speak it more. So I'm getting better, but I have no like half the comments I read like a turtle. I'm slow as shit. And I'm like on live, when I go on live, people are like writing comments. I'm like, dude, hold the fuck on. Like I can't read this shit. So yeah, I sound like a third grader trying to read like every letter. But yeah.
And speaking of Slavic parents, how have your parents perceived your content creation career? Like, what do they make of it?
So just a general note, my parents are very they encourage me to do whatever I want. They will support me whatever it is I do. Drop out of school twice, start posting about stupid shit. My dad has been like pretty like proud. Like I've seen him like talk about it when I pull up somewhere or we have a family event. He always calls me Mr. Popular now. And then my mom just supports me whatever it may be. Besides, I did do one video, Bele Lebes na Prudu.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to watch that video, it's on my TikTok, but I just switched out a couple words because I was bored. I was like, this might sound good. And then I showed it to my mom. She's like, this is what you put out for the world to see. And I was like, yeah, yeah. So, but other than that, everything's been pretty good.
Sometimes I like wonder how improvised something is versus how much you thought ahead because watch your videos. I'm like, there ain't no way this guy was sitting there for 3 days coming up with this concept. Like, it just had to come to you in that moment because, like, Hurricane Kasraka, you just can't.
Yeah, that one definitely was off the dome. A lot of my videos are off the dome. I don't have any drafts, so I don't save anything. Usually when it's time to post, I'll just think of something. And I'll make a video about it and just post it.
And speaking of drafts, this actually brings me to the lightning round portion of the episode. I prepared some fun, lighthearted questions for you. Don't think too hard. Whatever comes to you, say it. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
First question. What's something embarrassing in your TikTok drafts that you'll never post?
There was it's not in my drafts, but it was a video that I wanted to do. I was just sitting on the toilet, and I was like, POV when you sit down to srats and you look and there's no toilet paper. So I recorded that, and then I looked back at it. I was like, damn, like, can I really post that? I look like a dumbass. So I didn't. I didn't.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, that was bad.
Okay, hidden talent.
I wish I had any. I could jump through my leg as like a dance move. I could like I could like do that. That's kind of cool. Somebody.
It's like a clover with your tongue, yeah?
Yeah, that's all I got though. I'm pretty vanilla. I don't have anything cool.
Okay. A celebrity who would nail playing you in a movie.
Okay, I really like Timothy Chalamet. I think if he gained a couple pounds, he might look a little bit like me and got like a Jewish nose. But honestly, I think I would play myself really well. That would be pretty cool. But I think Timothy Chalamet, if he learned a little bit of Russian, he could do a good job.
Yeah, that's actually a great one. Okay, next one. Something you irrationally hate.
Холодец. Listen, what
Facts.
the fuck is that?
Meat jelly.
Listen, cause they're like, yeah, you know what? Somebody was bored one day. They're like, you know what? I'm so fucking bored. Let me make the most disgusting shit ever and give it to people. And by the way, я узнал, что есть fish холодец.
That's
So
objectively worse.
well, it's like they're like, hey, how can I make shit even worse? Let me just add another scoop of shit on there. That's pretty much what that is. So I hate холодец. I hate селедка под шубой. I tried it. I threw up like twice. Like Russians just be making fucking concoctions. Like it's ridiculous. They need
It's
to.
because they all starved. They didn't have any food, so they had
But
to
why?
use
Why
what they
should I
had.
starve? I don't need to starve.
Yeah,
They can
you don't
keep
need
the
to
shit
eat
over
it.
there. What
Yeah.
the?
But it is like a cultural food because of that.
Yeah. Well, they could keep it over there. I'm good.
Okay. Fuck, Mary kill, pelmeni, tomatoes, borscht.
All right. We're marrying Pomidore, obviously. Ooh, you know what? That's a good one. I really like Pilimani, but you can never go wrong with mom's borscht. So I'm gonna have to was it fuck?
Fuck, Mary kill, yeah.
I would fuck the borscht.
And
I would fuck
kill
the
pelmeni.
yeah
But they
with
have
the
protein, and you're always on that protein gains,
well,
Shimon.
could put beef in the borscht, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
so we're good.
Good workaround.
Yep, we're good. With some smetana? That's can't beat that.
As we wrap here, what is your message to the Jewish people?
That's a good question. Before I dropped out, I was very like I said, I was starting to learn more about Judaism and my identity as a Jew. And KU, I started speaking a lot with the rabbi. His name is Rabbi Zalman. And he would always be happy regardless of things that were going on because they were trying to open up a new Chabad house over there and some stuff wasn't working, but he was always happy, right? And every time I came to him and I was telling him about my life or something that happened, he was always like, wow, it's because of God. So you need to be true to who you are. You need to pray and you can't let people scare you. I think the most important thing, honestly, in life is your relationship with God because you're fortunate enough to not only be alive, but to be able to actually live the life that you were given. So it only makes sense to pay your respects to who allowed you to be here. So don't be afraid of who you are. Pray every day, and I think you'll be fine.
Thanks, Soma. This is great. And how can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
So they could follow me on my Instagram. It's Shimon underscore Raskin, and the same thing on TikTok, or you could search up Shoma on TikTok. And then all my companies are tagged in my bio. So if somebody's looking for, help with their Greek life chapter, you can go apply for Greeky. Signing up takes 2 seconds. If you are a company that needs social media management, we have our website there. Application form is there too. So really quick, and if there's any business inquiries, my emails are always there. I am looking for some clothing sponsors because why the hell am I paying for clothes? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So, there's that. So yeah.
You got to get connected with Promise State. They make these sick like hoodies and t-shirts that are good quality, and they have etched the map of Israel in the corner.
Oh, let's do that. Connect me with that. That sounds
Yeah.
fire. That sounds awesome.
Okay. And I have one final question for you. It's one that I ask every single guest of the show. Who would you like to nominate for People Do You Want to Know?
I have a couple people.
Perfect.
One person would be Jason Rieger. He is the founder of Switch, which is it's a company that helps with group payments, predominantly Greek life. He's been a mentor to me. He's been really awesome, and I do run their social media, so he's a great person to speak with. And then another one would be Max Schusterman. He co-founded a company called Greek Fest, and earlier this fall they brought out Nick from Love Island to a bunch of tours. I was fortunate enough to go to some of the shows, so that was a fun time. So you can get a little bit of exposure to the Greek or the event scene and see how that's run. It's pretty interesting industry.
Thanks so much for doing this. This has been so fun. And I saw so many like new things about you that I never would have picked up on just from following you on social media. So you have a fascinating story. You're going to be very successful. And I'm happy and proud to know you.
Thank you for having me.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please go ahead and rate us 5 stars. Be the first to hear our episodes by subscribing to People Do You Want to Know wherever you get your podcasts. And for exclusive content, follow us on Instagram at People Do You Want to Know.